Where they had the protesters and they had this bitch sipping champagne and she was toasting to the protesters and the protesters were getting inflamed. He would have been hanging out with that bitch, man, sipping that champagne. Anyway, it says, if you're real brutal in this world, you get rewarded, man. If you have no scruples, no honors, no honor, no integrity, you get rewarded in this world. It is written, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right? If you'd like to know the true story about Christopher Columbus, please read on. But I warn you, it's not for the faint of heart. Here's the basics. On the second Monday in October each year, we celebrate Columbus Day. This year, it's on October 11th. We teach our school kids a cute little song that goes, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. It's an American tradition, as American as pizza pie, which pizza pie is not American, right? It came from Italy, the pizza pie. Or is it? Surprisingly, the true story of Christopher Columbus has very little in common with the myth we all learned in. Columbus Day, as we know it in the United States, was invented by the Knights of Columbus, a Catholic fraternal service organization back in the 1930s. They were looking for a Catholic hero as a role model their kids could look up to. In 1934, as a result of lobbying by the Knights of Columbus, Congress and President Franklin Roosevelt signed Columbus Day into law as a federal holiday to honor this courageous explorer, or so we thought. There are several problems with this. First of all, Columbus wasn't the first European to discover America. He never even made it to America. As we all know, the Viking Leif Erikson probably founded a Norse village on Newfoundland some 500 years earlier. So hats off to Leif. But if you think about it, the whole concept of discovering America is, well, arrogant. After all, the Native Americans discovered North America about 14,000 years before Columbus was even born. Yeah, he went, just like Elder Ramlab said, he went off on that. Which shows you just how dumb these crackers are, man. Anyway, reading on, it says, surprisingly, DNA evidence now suggests that the courageous Polynesian adventurers sailed dugout canoes across the Pacific and settled in South America long before the Vikings. Second, Columbus wasn't a hero when he set foot on that sandy beach in the Bahamas on October 12, 1492. Columbus discovered that the islands were inhabited by friendly, peaceful people called the Lucayans, Taínos, and the Arawaks. Writing in his diary, Columbus said they were a handsome, smart, and kind people. He noted that the gentle Arawaks were remarkable for their hospitality. They offered to share with anyone, and when you ask for something, they never say no, he said. The Arawaks had no weapons. Their society had neither criminals, prisons, nor prisoners. They were so kind-hearted that Columbus noted in his diary that on the day the Santa Maria was shipwrecked, the Arawaks labored for hours to save his crew and cargo. The native people were so honest that not one thing was missing.
Let me say this, man. Hence came the damn devil. Right. And he's the exact opposite of that. Right. And like I said, you got these Israelite groups that saying you can't call this man the devil, you can't. He shows it every day, man. Every day, this right as we speak, there's millions of Edomites doing wickedness right now, man. Scheming on somebody, man. He's a schemer, he's a thief, he's a murderer. That bitch Amanda Knox, Foxy Noxie, she made that speech when she came back, and you can see that she was doing the acting job, man. She slit the throat or she was down with it, man. And they both got free. Why? Because they're devils, man. They're devils. That's in their spirit. They can't help it, man. A rattlesnake, a cobra is going to bite you because that's in their nature. Esau is going to do wickedness to you because that's in his nature. He's made that way. He's built. That's in his DNA.
Yeah, they're always talking about some goddamn DNA. Well, that's what's in their DNA, wickedness. It says Columbus was so impressed with the hard work of these gentle islanders that he immediately seized their land for Spain and enslaved them to work in his brutal gold mines. Within only 2 years, 125,000, half of the population of the original natives on the island, were dead. But you got High Time Coon in particular, that moron. He wants to save Esau. Anyway, it says, if I were a Native American, I would mark October 12, 1492 as a black day on my calendar. Shockingly, Columbus supervised the selling of native girls into sexual slavery. Young girls of the ages of 9 to 10 were the most desired by his men. In 1500, Columbus casually wrote about it in his log. He said,
if you dealing with a woman that's 17 years, 10 months, 11 months, a day before her birthday, like the next day she's going to turn 18, which makes it legal in New York and other states, don't you know they can lock your ass up for statutory rape? But here these devils, they were taking them little 9-year-old girls and popping them, man. But you got niggas out there that say, well, you can't say that about the white man. You can't say, not all of them. No, all of them are bad, man. A lot of these honest, good, hard-working so-called devils, they're going to celebrate that Christopher Columbus Day, man. And on top of all that, he was a flaming faggot, man. They used to pop each other on the ship. And it was said, and they hide that he died in 1506, of a bad case of syphilis. Because he was popping men and getting popped by men. Go ahead, Ock.
Reading on, it says, in 1500, Columbus casually wrote about it in his log. He said, 100 Castellanos are as easily obtained for a woman as for a farm, and it is very general, and there are plenty of dealers who go about looking for girls. Those from 9 to 10 are now in demand. So that proves what the writer is saying, because it was written in his log. He forced these peaceful natives work in his gold mines until they died of exhaustion. If an Indian worker did not deliver his full quota of gold, thus, by Columbus' deadline, soldiers would cut off the man's hands and tie them around his neck to send a message. Slavery was so intolerable for these sweet, gentle island people that at one point 100 of them committed mass suicide. Catholic law forbade the enslavement of Christians, but Columbus solved this problem. He simply refused to baptize the native people of Hispaniola. On the second trip to the New World, Columbus brought cannons and attacked dogs. Now, we got to mention that this guy Columbus, he's the predecessor to what you have going on called the New World Order. All right? There's that term, New World. So you think about that, man. This is the guy they hold in honor of their so-called New World Order. Columbus bought cannons and attacked dogs. If a native resisted slavery, he would cut off a nose or an ear. If slaves tried to escape, Columbus had them burned alive. Other times he sent attack dogs to hunt them down, and the dogs would tear off the arms and legs of the screaming natives while they were still alive. If the Spaniards run short of meat to feed the dogs, Arawak babies were killed for dog food. Columbus' acts of cruelty were so unspeakable and so legendary, even in his own day, that government Francisco de Bobadilla arrested Columbus and his two brothers, slapped them into chains, and shipped them off to Spain to answer for their crimes against the Arawaks. But the king and queen of Spain, their treasury filling up with gold, pardoned Columbus and let him go free. One of Columbus' men, Bartholomew de las Casas, was so mortified by Columbus' brutal atrocities against the native peoples that he quit working for Columbus and became a Catholic priest. He described how the Spaniards under Columbus' command cut off the legs of children who ran from them to test the sharpness of their blades. According to de las Casas, the men made bets as to who